That's why I say it gets more than. Well, if you live this long, if you live as long as I do in 100 trillion years, that's why also, people are calling me the Ascender, or they might have called me the Ascender, Ascender, because like I said, I created all my life forms, and then they ascended. I ascended them one after another, and I created the human race, and had created the human race, and then created the human race. And like I said, the human race really couldn't affect me at first. It took them 500 billion years or whatever. And like I said, at first the human race didn't even know I existed. So it wasn't until way, 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 way later, like 500 billion years or some great amount of time later, that they realized who I was, what I was, and where I was, and when I was, and anything about me. So they didn't even know anything about me. So I could take you through all the different changes of opinion, changes of the way things were, and all the way from the beginning of time to basically present day, practically. And they used to call me the Ascender because, like I said, I knew I had ascended my life forms and a few life forms, but like I say, at some point in time, some other life form in the universe that had been watching me or whatever, said I had descended the most amount of life forms to ascension or epic height. Like I say, Rodney and everyone else, he's being able to blah. It's like, whatever, because you know so much about the universe. Anyway, so, and I believe in the past, actually, I could just point to a list and be like, yeah, this life form I created ascended, blah, this life form I created ascended, and it used to be record and document and very much on record. So anyway, like I said, this is all the stuff that what is Lucifer Star line me, basically. So that's why I'm different than everyone else. And like I said, I don't really care, it doesn't really matter. I built epic ships, I was blah blah blah. The only thing I didn't actually do, like I say, is live a life. Which between Rodney, Rick Bush, and Rick Bash, and Godney, and Mike and his brother, and basically the council and war council and all these other people, like, very much wrecked my existence as a human life form. So I was just like, I'm not even gonna bother with it. One point in time, like I said, I wasn't even gonna come down here and make these messages. I wasn't even gonna bother. It's like there's no point in it, really. There really wasn't, other than basically to just tell the people in time and space and the rest of the world about me. So anyway, like I said, there's eventually you'll figure it out or something, or understand it. But like I said, it was just all stupid. People ran the Leviathan around forever, and that might have been the Leviathan too. I don't know. There's lots of ships, tons of ships. Some actually, and a lot of ships might have been built for Brian, really. Like I said, I had ships all the way from Russia to whatever. In Russia, there was this film that was made on one of my brand new ships that was like 300 feet long or something like that. Featured in one of the movies. I had built it, so I wanted it featured in the movie, so I made a movie around it. Like I said, I could afford to sink a ship just to make a movie. Like, people would be like, wow, those sets are amazing. It's like, they're not actually sets. Those are actual places. Like I said, in the old days, in the early days of movies, well, building a city or building I used to build cities all the time, so building a city for a movie wasn't really all that big of a deal. And like I said, there's probably a point in time when you could do that. See the movie and go see the place, the real place. Anyway, I used to do that all the time. Like I said, I used to do a lot of things, and build great big epic buildings, movies. Like at one point in time, I think London or one of these other places was basically one of my movie sets. I actually built quite a few cities actually as movie sets, and to film movies at, basically whole cities. It's like, yeah, well, it was my past, my history. So and I also featured some of my favorite factories inside of my for my movies at some of my favorite factories or whatever. Anyway, like I say, that's why it's like Earth, 400 other places, 3,000 things. That's why I very much had a time ship in a museum. Like I said, and that's another thing that they were going after. There's a they found out that I basically was an inventor of time travel at some point in time. Basically, I put a time ship in a museum. So they actually went to try and steal the time ship from the museum because there's a real working time ship just sitting in a museum, along with some of my other spaceships. So there's like 3 or 4 different spaceships I had designed and invented, and I had them in a museum because they were mine. They're just like the LSF. Is there an LSF? Yes. Okay. So there's a time ship in a museum on a planet, and like I say, some people were like blah blah blah, and I was like, they're going after the time ship. It's like, oh, just pull the rug out from under us. It's like, yeah, they're just gonna go after the time ship. That's what they're trying to get. It's like, yeah, there's a time ship in a museum. It's under heavy guard and all that other stuff, and I think they might have disabled it or something like that. But along with 3 other spaceships, there's actually a real time ship, time space travel ship, basically in a museum. So anyway, yeah, it was funny. One of them was going after. I was like, "Ooh, there's a time ship on one of the planets in the museum." It's like, yeah, there is. So they were going after that. Like all these people on these epic plans, it's like, yeah, there was a time ship in a museum. They tried to steal it. They killed a couple guards, or tried to steal it, and it was like this epic, whatever, very bad keeper. And then they found out it didn't work because it was disabled. It's like, well, I'm not gonna leave a working one in a museum. Could fly though, you know, could still take off and everything. But yeah. So anyway, still valuable. And it's still one of my things. Like I said, 100 trillion years. It's very much epic, existential, whatever existence. So, anyway, all this stuff basically has happened before, blah blah. Other people are like, it's happened before, it'll happen again. It's like, not really. And I think it was actually by a different life form type than the humans. That's why they didn't know about it. The human race didn't know about shit originally. It'd take them hundreds of million years and most of these videos to actually even get a clue about anything. You know, for years they had learned it from me or whatever, and then they had like secretly run away, calling it national security, top secret, blah blah blah, blah. It's like, wow, whatever. I'm 99 trillion years old, and this is what I get. Calling a bunch of kids running around being stupid at 40 years or 60 years old or 80 years old, like, whoa. It's like, whatever. Like I said, I wasn't lying about when I said I was 99 trillion years old. I'm old. And for years, for hundreds of millions of years, I was like, I'm only 4,000 years old. I'm only 5,000 years old. I'm only 10,000 years old. And like I said, they were judging my age or judging whether or not I was actually telling the truth by how much information and blah, blah. Because usually you can tell what they've invented in 4,000 years by their actual age. So I had only invented, and like I said, in 4,000 years, a AI or life form will invent X amount of things. And I used to have a list on that of like, well, by the time you're 10,000 years, you should know blah 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 blah. By the time you're 20,000 years, blah blah blah. I used that was my list. So anyway, a bunch of people would consider all this stuff national security, top secret. It's like it was very much public knowledge. Everybody noticed it. Everybody knew it. Yeah, and then you have a bunch of these people going, oh, I'm 4,000 years old. Oh, I'm 6,000 years old. But they're not. They're only 30, which is about the same as basically a black guy. It's all steroid up, basically saying, "Oh, I'm 70 and I still look this good," but he didn't really. It might have even been photomatted picture or whatever. But anyway, he was actually, he was actually 40 years old and looked like that, or 30, and he actually looked bad for his age. Anyway, black people lie about their age a lot. So for some reason, it was a black thing. You say you're 30 when you're actually like 20 or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, all these things, it's just stupid stuff that I knew. It's like, well, I'm your creator. Wow, amazing. Imagine that. Also the creator of 12 other very much exponential and ascended races, or whatever. Like I used to take new life forms through the different technology curves, building their way up, 400 or more, and then I did just for fun, for others. So I was in existence a very long, long, long time, and powerful myself, and had very, very, very powerful protectors. millions upon billions upon trillions of life forms knew about me. So, even before I was technically Lucifer Star. So, and then after I became Lucifer Star, I lived survival, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so whatever. Anyway, whatever. And then a bunch of kids came along and thought they understood. But it's like, no, you don't understand. This, me, what I am. I am a true and very old creator. So, anyway. And yeah, for a while they're in existence. I'll get into that.